What's up guys, and welcome to the most generic zombies video you have ever seen. Almost every single zombies YouTuber, except myself apparently, has made a ranking every zombies map, Treyarch specifically, at least once. So what better way than to do my own version of this video, and use probably the most generic website everyone knows, good old tiermaker.com. You've seen the tale, you've seen every zombies YouTuber before me, and probably after doing it. So that's why I'm here today, to show you my ranking of every zombies map, specifically from Treyarch. The reason I'm doing this now is because since I got my PC, I've been able to go back and play the originals from World at War and Black Ops 1, which I couldn't do when I had my Xbox. On my Xbox I had Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, and Black Ops 4. But now that I have World at War and Black Ops 1 at my disposal, I think I can give you guys a pretty good understanding of where each map lays for me. So I set all the maps in order, like this, knocked all the way to Tag Der Toten. Alpha Omega for some reason is on this tier maker here, but you know, we're just gonna stick with that. We also got the non-Treyarch maps here, like Shell and Shuffle. We got Spaceland. Spaceland for me would have been great, but it's not a Treyarch map, so we have to stick with that. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So we got Der Toten to start off. The very first map in Call of Duty Zombies. Treyarch, non-Treyarch, irrelevant. It's the first map ever. But compared to maps today, it's gotta be decent. Like, I can always hop into a game and knock, but it's once every like couple months or so. I can't find myself playing this map much. It's the classic, you gotta respect it, but minus nostalgia, it's just an okay map, and that's what relates to me. Next, we got Voyage, the introduction of perks and traps. It was the grounds for what would eventually lead to Der Toten. And this, just like Der Toten, it's gotta be decent too. Like, it's just like Knock pretty much, except with a couple extra things. And the sprinters on Voyage and World at War specifically makes it way more annoying and difficult, especially with how World at War is with its system. But overall, it's a good map. I can go play it every now and then, but I just can't play it too often. Kinda like Knocked. And the next map I'm about to say, which is Kino Der Toten, the introduction of dogs and random perk locations, which will be a pretty bad trend in the future of zombies, but that's also gotta be decent. Honestly, out of the three of Knocked, Voyage, and Kino Der Toten, it's easily my favorite. We got the introduction of Hellhounds, we got the Ram perks, we have the introduction of the Wonder WAF. That is the first non-ray gun wonder weapon in Treyarch Zombies, and zombies for that matter. So that's a pretty cool part of it. And we got Der Toten and the Giant. Oh boy. You already know where I have to go. I'm just doing them because they're pretty much the same map, but you got the introduction of Pack-a-Punch here. Like, Pack-a-Punch is literally what made zombies zombies. Like, sure, you got the perks and everything, but being able to like Pack-a-Punch your weapons, teleportation, it's pretty much the introduction to the story. Like, between Samantha, Maxis, all of them, it literally laid out everything for Treyarch Zombies, and even future zombies as well. So I gotta put it where it belongs. It has to be in the amazing / masterpiece section of this tier maker. And personally, this isn't amazing. These are masterpieces, in my opinion at least. Next, we got Kino Der Toten. We are finally done World at War maps. We'll move on to Black Ops 1. And for every map here, I will be considering mainly the originals, but I will also think about the remasters as well, and how that affected each map when they are remastered. So, first we got Kino Der Toten. Personally, it's a great map. I know it was cut from World at War because I don't think they're ready to have another map in the game. I'm not sure what the whole story is behind it, but Kino Der Toten, it's a great map. It's pretty much Der Toten in a different setting. You got the fire trap, you got the MP40, the most iconic weapon in zombies in my opinion is definitely the MP40. You got the theater, you got the alley, you got a bunch of really cool areas you can travel on this map. But again, like I said before, it's pretty much a reskin of Der Toten with like a couple extra things, and that's why I put it great. Like, it's a great map. You can play casually as much as you like, but I understand why people can say it's a boring map. It can be pretty overrated. Like, I get that, but personally, it's a great map. Next, we got 5. 5, you know, it's a decent map. You know, it's a very tough map. There's no good weapons. You got the traps and spawn. You got the Winter's Howl, which granted isn't great in Black Ops 1, but I know it was buffed in Black Ops 4. I'll get into that later on. You got John F. Kennedy, you got Robert McNamara, you got Richard Nixon, and you got Castro. Now we'll move on to the DLCs of Black Ops 1, which will start with Ascension. Ascension, you know, it's a great map, alright? You got the introduction of Gersh, you got the dome thing in Spawn. I'm just gonna call it the Fidget Spinner because I don't really think it has a specific name. You got the monkeys, which can steal your perks every few rounds after you turn on power, so you gotta be strategic about what perks you buy and how you're gonna protect those perks. And on top of that, you got the introduction of PhD Flopper in this map, the most popular perk added into a zombies map, minus the 4 OG perks, obviously. The one that's been disrespected the most and the one that deserves most respect has to be PhD Flopper. And you also got the very first 4-player Easter egg in Ascension 2. Granted, it wasn't a crazy Easter egg, wasn't groundbreaking or anything like the future ones, but it laid the groundwork for all the Easter eggs in Call of Duty Zombies. And you got the Thunder Gun, which I didn't even mention on Kino Der Toten. You got the Thunder Gun in this map too, which was brought back after how popular it was in Kino. And you also got the introduction of the Gersh devices. So that's why Ascension is great in my opinion. It's just a great atmosphere in the Russian Cosmic Drone, and I love it. And Call of the Dead. Oof. If you had me ask my opinion on this map, I would say it was just a decent map. Like, George was really obnoxious, it was annoying, but 10 years ago, I was 8 years old. I was 9 years old when this map came out, technically. Play it now, when I'm about to turn 18. It's incredible. The map is amazing. Granted, it's impossible to get around 100 on this map. The wonder weapons, kinda okay, past round 30. You got no traps on the map, but George Romero, the first celebrity cast of all time, the VR-11, the Scavenger, I already said wonder weapons, just forget that. But the point is, this map is incredible. I could just go on about how good it is. Granted, the fog can be annoying sometimes, but it's like a 2-minute transition between fog and no fog. And speaking of George, like I said before, you are rewarded for actually killing them. You get the Wonder Waff and the free perk slot. And speaking of perk slots and everything, I am working on a challenge for this map. It is difficult, and I am hoping to have it done pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. After Call of the Dead, we got DLC 3 of Black Ops 1, Shangri-La. Shangri-La on Black Ops 1 originally, it's an okay map. It's a challenge. You got the baby gun, which is personally my favorite wonder weapon in all zombies, track or not. And on Black Ops 1, this map's okay. It's the first Easter egg and the only Easter egg you can do multiple times. You can do it up to 4 times to get everyone all their perks permanently. And overall, considering you got BO1 Shang, it's an okay map, but since there's BO3 Shang, that's a better one in my opinion. You got the replayability factors. I think it's a good map. Like, it's not crazy or anything, it's not terrible either, it's just a good map in general. You got the monkeys, you can use them to your advantage, you get power-ups. You can strategically use power-ups to your advantage, get even perks from the monkeys if you get a max ammo drop. So that adds a lot of challenge to the map and strategy, which I really like about it, but I'm not really one for hard maps. I've never really been good at hard maps, but overall, it's a good map. I think it's good. It's not great, it's not bad either, it's just a good map. And we got Moon. In terms of like Black Ops 1, if it was a Black Ops 1 ranking only, it would be in the bad. I absolutely despise Moon on Black Ops 1. I hate the movement on it, the zero gravity, everything. The guns aren't good, except the wave gun, obviously, but we're talking about a bit of both here. So, in terms of BO3, if it was only BO3, the map would be great, because it fixes a lot of the issues that BO1 Moon had. It looks amazing, but since we're going to kind of average Moon out here, I would say it's a good map. Like, I always prefer the BO3 version over the BO1 version. It's pretty much the only one I would prefer out of all these. Maybe Shang, but Moon is definitely the one I would 100% prefer over the original. It's just better in almost every single aspect. And that's pretty much what I'm making for BO1. So now, we got BO1 and World at War out of the way. We're on to Black Ops 2. And it's gotta be an interesting start, because we got Transit, and its counterparts here. Subsections of Transit: Bus Depot, Farm, and Town. Let's just start with Transit, right? You know, Transit, sorry, they're just bad. I don't need to explain why. But then we got Bus Depot, Farm, and Town. We got this 3 subsections in the map, and each offering a different level of difficulty. Bus Depot, honestly, it's just not good, in my opinion. You got nothing except a mystery box. It's not fun. You always die quickly. It's a good challenge, but for my own taste, I don't like it too much. We got Farm next. Farm adds perks and a mystery box location, and I think it's decent, honestly. Like, it adds a little bit of challenge, but it's not crazy difficult to the point of where it's almost impossible. It's very close quarters. I think it's smaller than Nocturne Tone, if I'm not mistaken, which makes it a little interesting. But besides the point, it's a good challenge. I could play it every now and then, but I won't be playing as much as I play this next one coming up, which is Town. Oh boy, Town, you are so good. Playing great. You got Pack-a-Punch, you can do a ton of challenges. You can do the Pack-a-Punch challenge, no perk challenge, no jug. I can go on and on about what you can do on Town. It's super replayable, and it's pretty much what I played for most of Black Ops 2's launch, the first couple months of it. And we got the bonus on Black Ops 2, which is, I believe, in between Transit and Die Rise. We got Nuketown. And honestly, it's a good map. It's not great, it's not bad, it's just good. You got the random perks dropping down from the sky, which is a really cool addition. It's pretty much the aftermath of what happened on Moon, as you can tell by how the game ends. When you die or end the game, you see one of the missiles from the Moon jumping down and actually blowing up Nuketown itself. I thought that was pretty cool. And round 25, you actually have the zombies changing their eyes from yellow to blue, which I thought was really cool for a bonus map like that. And there's really nothing else to it. It's just bare bones. It's a nice challenge. I can play now and then. I'm never getting around 50, as you guys have seen. I died around 49 a while back, and I don't think I'll be touching this map ever again. But I gotta respect the map just for what it is. It's a good map. It's not great, not bad, it's just good. And we got Die Rise. Oh boy. Die Rise, I'm just gonna play it not Treyarch because I wish it never existed. I don't even need to explain anything about it. But we got Mob of the Dead! Dude, Mob of the Dead is amazing. You got the Afterlife, you got the Celebrity Cast, you got the first really golden age map of zombies right here. Pretty much from Mob of the Dead Revelations, I believe, was the golden age of zombies. And it really kicked off what zombies would become in the future. It was the next big step ahead of Call of Duty Zombies. And the story behind this map was incredible, in my opinion. It really laid the groundwork for maps coming after this to have a pretty good, clear, concise story. Although they weren't as good as Mob, in my opinion, they still did an incredible job for the most part. But then we got Buried, the culmination of Victus's Black Ops 2 story. And I really think this is a great map. You got the Paralyzer, you got the Witches. It's the culmination of Black Ops 2 zombies, apart from Mob of the Dead, obviously. It ends Victus's story on a pretty sad level, honestly. The achievement is literally being either Richtofen's or Maxis's pawn, which is a theme that would drag into a certain Black Ops 4 map. And I believe it ties up the Black Ops 2 story pretty nicely. We got the old Western town theme, and honestly, there's really not much to it. You got the buildable parts, you got Leroy. I can't forget about my boy Leroy. And like I said before, it ties up Victus's story pretty well in Black Ops 2. And it's the only time in zombies where you can choose to have multiple endings, which was a theme in Black Ops 2, such in the campaign and, you know, zombies here. So I thought it was a nice little touch, having multiple endings with different rewards for each ending, more like. And we got Origins. You guys already know my opinion on Origins, my favorite map of all time. It's incredible. My favorite map of all time. You got the staffs, you got the robots, you got the Easter egg, you got the introduction of Primus, you got the introduction there. Everything that laid the groundwork for Black Ops 3 Zombies. It was amazing, and it was the first time ever you could get 9 perks on a map. It brought back PSG Flopper in the original map, which, granted, it wasn't good for anything, but it was still nice to have it. I can go on and on about how good this map is for me, and I love you, Origins. BO2 and BO3, which isn't as good as BO2, but I still love you, Origins. You are amazing. And then the first launch map of BO3, we got Shadows of Evil. Also an incredible map. This map is so good. You got the Apothecon Servant, you got the introduction of Widow's Wine, you got the Celebrity Cast. Granted, they weren't my favorite cast of all time, they were still interesting. The introduction to Shadow Man, You got the first 4-player Easter egg. It laid out the groundwork for BO3 story. It's so good playing Morgue City. It's such a good map. I could, again, like Origins, I could gush about how good this map is. And it really laid the groundwork for Black Ops 3 as a whole. Next, we got Der Eisendrache. You guys know my opinion on this. Also an incredible map. You get the bows. Granted, it's a reskin of Origins to some extent, but overall, I love how simple this map can be and how complex at the same time. You can get all 4 bows. You can't get all 4 bows. It's either a complicated mess getting all 4 bows, or it's a simple task of just pack-a-punching by hitting 2 buttons and going to that 3rd button where you didn't hit, just the spawn pack-a-punch in. And it doesn't move unless you pack-a-punch the gun itself. Then it will move to one of the other 2 locations. You got the Gruff, you got the Easter egg, you got the Corrupted Keeper, the NPD blowing up the moon at the very end. It's probably the most shocking ending to a DLC 1 map I've ever seen. And it really led the hype of Black Ops 3. This was, in my opinion, the golden age of zombies, and it sucks I wasn't part of that as much as I am right now in the community, but I still remember myself playing this map almost every day. It was such an incredible experience for me, and I could play this any and every day if I wanted to. But we got Zetsubou no Shima. In my opinion, the worst Black Ops 3 map, but you know, that doesn't mean it's not good. Like, minus the setup and everything, if you get rid of that really bad setup and the thrashers, this map is great. Minus that, it's not really too special, it's not crazy, it's a good map, honestly. It's just that setup and everything else before actually do everything that kind of kills the flow for me. The Easter egg itself is pretty much the setup of this map. You also got the introduction of the KT-4, which was a really cool wonder weapon. It's kind of funny, I didn't know it was a charge shot on the wonder weapon until like shortly after. So when I played this for the first time, I didn't really think, you know, this gun's kind of, you know, bad. Can't be good for anything. Then I hit a charge shot, I'm like, you know, this gun's not terrible. It's not great like most wonder weapons, like the thunder gun, the baby gun, but you know, it's pretty good for what it is. Well, that's why I put it good, but not great or decent. It's primarily the setup that kind of, you know, sucks. But anyways, we got Gorod Krovi. You guys probably know my opinion on this as well. It is amazing. This is probably my favorite Black Ops 3 map. Or maybe Shells. Maybe DE. I don't know. You got freaking dragons on this map, for God's sake. You got dragons. That is crazy. It's not even DLC 4 yet, but we got dragons. Oh my lord. What's next? The Great War? But besides me gushing about dragons, you got the Mark IIIs. Granted, they aren't the best wonder weapon all time, but they're still really cool. It's probably the most strategic wonder weapon I think you can use between either shooting them or with the right trigger or stunning them with your left trigger. Or you do a bit of both. You can stun them and then create a black hole or something to suck them in. Granted, that's not good past round 50, but it's still a pretty good strategic gun you can use for high rounds. And the Easter egg is crazy. You got pretty much 2 boss fights in a single boss arena. You got the you fight a dragon, and then you fight Nikolai. Granted, if you have IPS or Idolize, it's kind of easy to get through, but you still fight 2 bosses at once, which I believe is the first time you did that, and I think it was the only time you actually fought 2 bosses in a single Treyarch map, which is kind of cool. That's why I think it's amazing in my opinion. Then you got Revelations, what should have been the culmination of everything that came before it. Turned out to be a massive disappointment, but it's still a good map. Granted, it's a Black Ops 3 system, which I believe is the best system out of any Call of Duty game. Like, even though it's still a massive letdown, I think it's a good map. You can still get... It's too easy. That's pretty much my only issue with it. It's too easy. You got the Thunder Gun, you got Apothecary Servant, you can pack-a-punch the Apothecary Servant, you got little Arnies, you got double pack-a-punch, you got 10 different train locations. But the Easter egg was pretty cool near the end. Granted, you gotta get past the really annoying steps that make 0 sense to get to the good parts, which is pretty much the first boss fight, I like to call it, killing all the Margwas, and the final boss fight. Granted, it was a reskin of Shadows of Evil's boss fight, but I thought it was a pretty cool setting for that boss arena. But this is the map that could have been amazing, but just turned out to be a massive letdown. But granted, it was cool to see all the old maps return to some degree before Chronicles dropped, so that was pretty cool. Well, that there wraps up Black Ops 3 Zombies. And you guys are probably about to click off the video saying, it's gonna talk about Black Ops 4. He's gonna just rant about how bad it is. Ugh. Like, I'm not gonna talk about how bad each map is, because most maps in Black Ops 4 aren't my favorites. I'm gonna talk about like what was good about Black Ops 4 and what each highlight was of each map, honestly. I don't like most of Black Ops 4 maps, but I do respect some of the things that each map put in. Granted, they weren't great, except for a couple. You guys will see them in a second. First, we got Voyage of... What did I just do? That's my search history. First, we got Voyage of Despair here. Voyage of Despair. Here we go. Well, Voyage, in my opinion, it's not good. But I do respect the fact that it had the best boss fight in Treyarch Zombies. One of the best, more like, with the Eye of Odin, which was really cool. You know, just for that boss fight alone, it's gonna bump up to decent. But if it wasn't that boss fight, I'd put in a bad. Because that boss fight saves the map. It's just getting to that point, which is absolutely terrible. The plant step was interesting, but it just made no sense. The Kraken was pretty cool, upgrading the shield. Granted, the way to get it was okay. I think that was pretty cool too. It was an introduction to the Chaos story, which, granted, I don't know if it's coming back, but if it does come back, cool. If it doesn't, cool. I don't really care too much about it. But it was our introduction to the first story in Treyarch that was not Ether, which I thought was pretty interesting. It was interesting how it played out. So I can at least respect Treyarch for trying something new for once. And just the Black Ops 4 thing, the Carpenters and Max Ammos were improved. I loved those changes. I hope they come back for the next game. And that's my opinion on Voyage. It just is. Next we got 9. This map is great. This is a great map. You got the Roman Colosseum. You got Circuit's Kiss, which should have been one of the worst wonder weapons of all time. But considering you can spray it by just shooting and reloading simultaneously, it turns out to be one of the greatest wonder weapons in the game. Probably top 10 of all time, in my opinion at least. You got the boss fight, the Easter egg. Let's just talk about the Easter egg. It is action-packed start to finish. You are literally playing through rounds, up to round 17 and above, before you even start the Easter egg. Granted, I don't like round-based Easter eggs, but for a map like this, I could play high rounds any day of the week. And as soon as you get to that Danu step, where you have to shoot the red spores on the tree, it's just non-stop action left to right. You are literally killing zombies, you are doing a ton of things, you are strategizing things. It is non-stop action left to right. And then you end it off with killing 2 elephants. Literally 2 elephants to end the Easter egg off. It is quite the adventure this map is. It is amazing. You know what, just cause I just ranted about how good the map is, I'm putting up an amazing. It is super good. I love this map so much. Just talking about that made me appreciate it even more. I love that map so much. But for a map that we love so much, we get a map that we don't love so much, which is Blood of the Dead. Blood. Should have been so good. But, yeah, you were just decent. I did like how the Easter egg was a little more challenging than Mob. But again, you can't really... You can literally put anything above Mob of the Dead in terms of difficulty. But Blood of the Dead, you know, it's not horrible like people say, but it's not great like some others would say in my opinion. It's just a decent map. Like, yes, the transportation is not preferable in pain. The gondola is literally a death trap if you're going up the docks up to the prison. You did get an improvement on the Plunder Gat, which turned into either an Acid Gat or a Magma Gat. Granted, Magma Gat wasn't the greatest gun, it was still a pretty cool addition into the map itself. You got the Warden as the boss fight, which was pretty easy, but it was cool to fight the Warden in Blood of the Dead. It wraps up the story for the original crew in Mob of the Dead, and it ties and it really sets the scene for what would end Black Ops 4 Zombies as a whole with Ether. And the Blood Dead ending cutscene is probably the best cutscene in Zombies history by far. It is amazing and sad, sadly. But besides all that sense, let's get into a more joyful map. Classified. The Return of 5 and the Return of Ultimus since Moon. And you know, Classified, it's a good map. It improved on a lot of things that 5 lacked. It buffed the Winter's Howl. It brought Groom Lake into the scene of 5. Considering Broken Arrow was part of both sections, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a story guy, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But Classified, it's a good map. You get the was the Ultimus again. It adds some new areas, 5, and overall it was just a fun map. The intro cutscene is probably my favorite intro ever. It is straight Scooby-Doo vibes. Complete. It's like Scooby-Doo and Monsters Inc. rolled into one. It was funny, it was exciting, it was kind of a nostalgic seeing Shang and Moon, seeing what happened. I'm not a story guy, so like I said before, I don't know. And then we got Dead of the Night. I've always hated this map, but I can understand why people like it, so I'm gonna put up in good just for the people who do like it. I've never given this map a chance. I've never really done too much with it. The Nosferatus really ruined it for me. But I do appreciate the freedom this Easter egg has. You have 3 separate quests within a single quest that all lead to the same point, which is the final boss fight. So I got respected for that. Silver Bolts, which pretty much gives you infinite ammo as long as you have points. You have the Chaos Story version of the ray gun in Alistair's Folly, which is a pretty cool one to upgrade twice. But the only downside of this map, even today, is the amount of parts there are on it, and each quest line having 3 separate parts, pretty much. It's super complicated, and it's pretty much the same reason why Zetsubou suffered to some extent. It's just too much to do. Too many parts for such a simple thing. And that's pretty much the only downside, like major downside, I can think of Dead of the Night. Everything else was pretty good, in my opinion. You had one of the best Easter egg songs, in my opinion, Mystery. It's a really good song. You guys should probably listen to it if you haven't. But considering you're in the Zombies community, I don't see why you haven't listened to it. But then we got our final 2 maps coming up. Ancient Evil. Well, before we start Ancient Evil and Kino Der Toten, let's just talk about where I placed Alpha Omega. I will place that in decent, because you got the Ray Gun Mark II, you got the Elemental Ray Gun Mark IIs. The map itself is just Nuketown in Blackout, honestly, which is cool. You can add on to the original Nuketown. But the Nova Crawlers really ruined it. The only thing that I really enjoy about this Easter egg, or this map, honestly, is the Easter egg. Minus the Easter egg, there's really nothing that I really enjoy about Alpha Omega too much. It's just a very disappointing map, in my opinion, and it really could have been better. It's probably my second least favorite Black Ops 4 map behind Blood of the Dead. They're equally meh, in my opinion. But then we got Ancient Evil. Not as good as 9, but still amazing. It is a great map. You got this is pretty much the conclusion of Chaos. You got everything else pretty much wrapped up, and here it leaves on a cliffhanger. You got the Pegasus and Perseus boss fight. So my statement about Gorod Crowley was completely wrong. This is a map where you have 2 boss fights in a single arena. Granted, the Perseus boss fight was super easy if you had the Scepter of Ra. But besides the point, that is my opinion on Ancient Evil. You got the gauntlets, you got the upgrade gauntlets, you have the upgraded gauntlets, and you have the challenges, which can add some replayability for rewards. So the Easter egg itself is very simple. It actually directs you with the light shining out from the sky, and it has a great setting, and the characters are definitely improved on this map, I can say for sure. And it'll be interesting if they actually do bring Chaos back, because I'm kind of curious how they'll play it out if they brought it back, but if they don't, I'm fine with it. I'm not a huge fan of the Chaos story, but it'll be interesting if they brought it back. And then we got Kino Der Toten, the conclusion of Ether. It was a disappointment, honestly. It's pretty much like Revelations. It's a bunch of reused assets for the most part. The only thing I could believe was not reused was probably a Garthen device and Sam's box. Those are the only 2 innovations I can actually think of off the top of my head. You got the challenge totems around the map, which give you a free thunder gun if you actually complete all of them. So you are rewarded from the totem for each challenge complete, and it all leads up to the thunder gun. Overall, it's an okay map, but it had an emotional ending. It's definitely grown on the community since it was released. But it was just a Call of Dead remake that didn't do too well, in my opinion. And, well, this is what I have each map ranked. Best to worst, kind of. This is kind of my general opinion on each map. I do like a lot of them, I don't like a decent amount of them. But I did consider community opinions of each map as well, and include on the intro. So, this is my first long commentary video, to say the least. It's going to be a hassle to edit. So, my future self, I will see you then. thank you guys for watching. If you guys agree with my list, let me know in the comments. If you guys disagree with it, tell me why. Like the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. It's, kind of refreshing not doing speedruns for once, honestly. We got a lot to come up, guys, besides speedrunning. And I will see you guys in the next one.